want you to imagine the moment. You walk into a room, expecting one thing, only to discover that life has quietly shifted in a way you hadn't anticipated. That was the surprise in the story I shared. The wedding had already happened. At first, it might feel like a jolt, a brief moment of disorientation. But then, if we pause and breathe, it becomes clear that these small, unexpected instances carry some of the deepest truths about living fully. There is a power in being present, a strength that comes from truly engaging with each moment as it unfolds, without letting the noise of our expectations or our plans cloud the clarity of what is actually happening. And this isn't just a lesson for a single day or a single event. It is a lesson that echoes throughout history, whispered in the lives of those who dared to show up fully to the world. Consider, for instance, the quiet mornings of Abraham Lincoln before he became the leader whose decisions would define a nation. He was a man who often faced the impossible, yet he began each day by meeting the present as it was, acknowledging the challenges in front of him without becoming paralyzed by them. In those small moments of presence, reading letters, walking through Springfield, listening to the stories of ordinary citizens, he cultivated the clarity and focus that would later allow him to navigate the immense crises of the Civil War. There is a lesson there for all of us. The way we engage with the ordinary, with the unfolding of life in real time, shapes the extraordinary impact we are capable of. And it isn't only the great leaders whose lives show us this truth. History is filled with moments where ordinary people, when fully present, became catalysts for profound change. Harriet Tubman, for instance, moving quietly through the dark nights on the Underground Railroad, fully aware of every sound, every movement, every breath she took, her presence saved lives. It was her attentiveness, her complete focus on the moment and the task before her, that transformed danger into deliverance. There is an unspoken courage in that kind of presence. It requires letting go of the need to control outcomes, trusting instead in your ability to act fully here and now. Being present also allows us to witness the beauty that surrounds us, even in moments that at first seem ordinary or fleeting. When we pause to see the love in a shared glance, the laughter of children, or the quiet acts of kindness between neighbors, we recognize the texture of life itself. Michelle Obama often speaks about the significance of small, intentional moments, walking through the White House garden, speaking directly to students, connecting in real and authentic ways. These are the moments where leadership and growth begin, where the seeds of wisdom and influence are quietly planted. Being present is a form of respect for ourselves, for those around us, and for the legacy of those who came before us. And let us not forget, presence is also a form of courage. There's a certain bravery required to show up fully, without distraction, without shielding ourselves behind routines or expectations. Think of the civil rights movement, where individuals like Rosa Parks and the countless unsung heroes of the Montgomery bus boycott demonstrated presence in its most potent form. By sitting in that seat, by standing firmly for what was right, they were fully alive to the moral weight of the moment. They embraced the uncertainty and fear that came with action, and through that presence, changed the course of history. The power of presence is also deeply personal. It asks us to engage not only with the world but with ourselves, to listen to our own hearts, to recognize our own growth, and to celebrate the quiet victories that may not make headlines but define the path of our lives. It reminds us that life is not a checklist of achievements or a series of appointments to be kept, but a living, breathing journey in which every step matters. Presence cultivates patience, nurtures empathy, and strengthens the capacity for reflection, qualities that history's most impactful figures, from Eleanor Roosevelt to Frederick Douglass, exemplified as they lived deliberately, with attention to every challenge and opportunity. When we look at our own relationships, presence becomes a gift we give to others. Just as we celebrate the surprising moment of a wedding that already happened, we are reminded that life's richness often comes when we pay attention, when we truly see and hear the people we love. Every conversation, every touch point, every shared experience is amplified when approached with mindfulness and care. The ability to be fully there, to witness and honor the unfolding of life, is perhaps one of the most profound ways we can lead, inspire, and love. And so, in every unexpected turn, every surprise that life places before us, there is an invitation to engage fully, to notice the details, to embrace the present with courage and gratitude. It is in these moments, these small yet extraordinary instances, that we find clarity, purpose, and the seeds of change. When we walk into the world fully present, we honor not only our own journey but the legacy of all those who came before us, the thinkers, the leaders, the dreamers who remind us that our attention and our care matter deeply. So as we reflect on that simple story of a wedding that happened quietly, without announcement, let it remind us that life is happening right now. Our ability to be present, to engage fully, to notice the unfolding beauty around us, is a form of leadership, a form of courage, and a testament to human growth. Every moment we meet with awareness and grace becomes a part of a larger story, a timeless voice that echoes across generations, reminding us that to live fully is to be present, and to be present is to honor the journey of all who came before us and all who will follow. Relationships shape the very fabric of our lives, quietly guiding the choices we make and the people we become. When I think about that moment, the surprise of learning that a wedding had already taken place, I am reminded that life's most powerful lessons are often found in the connections we cultivate with others. Our families, our friends, our communities, they are not merely the backdrop of our lives. They are the teachers, the mirrors, and the anchors that give us meaning. History is full of stories that underscore this truth. Eleanor Roosevelt once said that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, but she also understood that those dreams are nurtured through the bonds we form with others. The strength of her relationships, both personal and professional, gave her the courage to speak up, to advocate, and to leave a legacy that continues to inspire generations. In our own lives, the relationships we cherish require presence, patience, and care. Just as we celebrate a newlywed couple quietly stepping into a shared future, we recognize that love and connection are not always loud or public. They are cultivated in the small gestures, the everyday acts of attention and kindness. Consider the story of Frederick Douglass, who, despite enduring unimaginable hardship, relied on a network of allies and confidants who supported him, encouraged him, and helped him amplify his voice. His growth, his courage, and ultimately his ability to influence the nation were inseparable from the relationships he nurtured. The lesson here is timeless. No one achieves greatness alone. Our connections are not merely incidental, they are essential. We see this truth echoed in communities across American history. Think of the women of the civil rights movement, whose relationships with one another created an unbreakable chain of support, strategy, and resilience. The Montgomery bus boycott, the lunch counter sit-ins, the marches that demanded justice, all of these were sustained by people who believed in one another, who cared enough to show up not just for themselves, but for the collective. There is a quiet power in cherishing the people who walk alongside us, in recognizing that every conversation, every shared meal, every hand held in solidarity is part of a larger story of progress and humanity. Cherishing relationships also teaches us humility. To truly value someone else's presence, to see them fully, and to listen deeply, we must step outside our own perspective. Michelle Obama often reflects on the lessons learned from her mother and her own marriage. That leadership, influence, and personal growth are inextricably linked to how we engage with the people closest to us. The greatest leaders in history, from Martin Luther King Jr. to Jane Addams, understood that empathy and connection are the foundation of lasting change. Their vision was made possible because they invested in relationships, because they saw the humanity in those around them and treated it with care and respect. And yet, cherishing relationships is not always simple or easy. It demands courage, vulnerability, and the willingness to forgive. Life will test us, just as it tested Abraham Lincoln in his personal and political relationships. His ability to navigate conflict, to bridge differences, and to recognize the strengths of others allowed him to lead a nation divided by war and prejudice. In our own lives, whether it is with family, friends, or colleagues, the lessons are the same. Invest in the connections that nurture you, honor the people who support your journey, and approach every relationship with intention and respect. It is also in relationships that we learn the art of celebration, of gratitude, and of shared joy. The story of a wedding that quietly took place yesterday is more than a delightful surprise. It is a reminder that love and commitment, once recognized and cherished, become a force that sustains us through life's uncertainties. Every relationship we invest in, every bond we honor, is an opportunity to create something enduring. Our attention and care ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never fully realize. Even in moments of distance, disagreement, or loss, the act of cherishing relationships teaches resilience. We see this in historical figures like Harriet Tubman, whose care and commitment to those she helped escape slavery created a network of love, trust, and courage that transformed lives. We learn that the strength of our relationships often determines our ability to endure, to grow, and to inspire others. To nurture a bond is to invest in the continuity of hope and humanity itself. Ultimately, the most powerful lesson in cherishing relationships is that they are the vessels through which history, wisdom, and courage flow. By honoring those around us, by listening, by engaging, by celebrating quietly but profoundly, we are participating in something timeless. We are building a legacy that extends beyond ourselves, a story that others can look back on and say, "Here is a life lived fully, here is a voice that cared deeply, here is a presence that mattered." So, as we reflect on that small yet profound moment, the surprise of a wedding quietly celebrated, we are reminded that the way we treat our relationships, the way we cherish those we love and those who love us, is nothing short of transformative. Our connections give meaning to our journey, strength to our struggles, and joy to our triumphs. Every conversation, every embrace, every act of presence in another person's life is part of a timeless story. And in cherishing our relationships, we honor not only our own journey, but the voices of generations past, present, and future, weaving them together into a chorus of timeless voices. Life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. Sometimes those surprises arrive as moments of joy, and sometimes as challenges that test the very core of who we are. The story I shared, the moment of learning that a wedding had already taken place, captures the essence of these unexpected turns. At first, it might feel startling or even confusing, but if we take a moment to breathe, to center ourselves, we discover that there is profound wisdom in embracing life as it comes, without resistance, without fear, and with an open heart. There is power in learning to move gracefully with the flow of life rather than clinging to a rigid plan or timeline. History teaches us this lesson again and again. Consider the life of Abraham Lincoln, a man whose path was anything but straightforward. Lincoln faced political defeats, personal loss, and the weight of a nation divided. Yet in each unforeseen challenge, he discovered opportunities for growth and clarity. He learned to adapt, to listen, and to find strength in moments that seemed disorienting or even impossible. In doing so, he became a leader who could navigate uncertainty with wisdom and courage. Life's surprises are not interruptions, they are invitations. They ask us to rise to the occasion, to see beyond the immediate moment, and to recognize the lessons hidden within change. And it is not only the well-known figures of history who show us the value of embracing the unexpected. Everyday people have transformed their lives by choosing to face surprises with courage and curiosity. Harriet Tubman, moving through the darkness on the Underground Railroad, could never know exactly what lay ahead with each step, yet she embraced the unknown with unshakable resolve. Her willingness to engage fully with life's uncertainties allowed her to lead others to freedom, reminding us that bravery is often found in our response to the unplanned. Embracing life's surprises requires a mindset that balances courage and humility. It asks us to trust ourselves even when the path is unclear, to remain present, and to acknowledge that uncertainty is a natural part of the human experience. Michelle Obama often speaks about the importance of resilience, of leaning into challenges rather than running from them, and of finding growth in places we might initially fear. Whether it was stepping into the public spotlight or navigating deeply personal moments, her example shows that embracing uncertainty is a gateway to profound self-discovery and empowerment. Surprises also teach us about the beauty of impermanence. Life is not meant to be completely predictable. Its richness comes from its unpredictability. Consider the women of the civil rights movement, who often faced sudden and dangerous circumstances that required split-second decisions. Their courage in those moments, their ability to act with clarity and purpose despite uncertainty, changed the course of history. Every surprise, every twist of fate, is a chance to demonstrate strength, integrity, and leadership. At the same time, embracing surprises nurtures creativity and innovation. When we are willing to step into the unknown, we open ourselves to solutions, ideas, and experiences we could never have anticipated. Think of the inventors, thinkers, and activists in American history who turned unforeseen events into breakthroughs. Figures like Thomas Edison, who saw failure not as defeat but as a step toward discovery, or women suffragists who adapted strategies to overcome barriers they had not anticipated. They remind us that life's surprises are not obstacles. They are opportunities to grow, to reimagine, and to transform. On a personal level, embracing life's surprises allows us to cultivate gratitude, joy, and a sense of wonder. That moment of learning about a wedding that had quietly occurred invites us to pause and celebrate life as it unfolds. It reminds us that the most meaningful moments often arrive without warning, and that our ability to recognize them, to savor them, is what gives life depth and richness. Every unexpected experience carries with it the potential to teach us about ourselves, about others, and about the greater arc of the world around us. Moreover, embracing life's surprises fosters resilience and adaptability. Just as historical figures navigated challenges that seemed insurmountable, we too can learn to move with life rather than resist it. Each unexpected turn asks us to grow, to stretch, and to discover capacities within ourselves we may not have known existed. In doing so, we build the strength to face future challenges with confidence, grace, and determination. Ultimately, learning to embrace life's surprises is an act of trust in ourselves, trust in others, and trust in the journey of life itself. It calls on us to approach each day with courage, curiosity, and openness, knowing that even the smallest, most unexpected moments can carry lessons that shape our character and our purpose. So as we reflect on that small yet profound story, we are reminded that life's surprises are not interruptions but invitations. They are calls to awaken fully, to move forward with courage, and to honor the unexpected as a teacher. When we embrace the twists and turns of life, we not only grow individually, but we contribute to a story that resonates across generations, a story that connects us to those who came before and to those who will follow. In embracing life's surprises, we find our own voice, our own strength, and our own place in the chorus of timeless voices. Love has always been one of the most powerful forces in human life, and yet it is often something we approach cautiously, quietly, or even fearfully. The story of learning that a wedding had already taken place, without warning, without announcement, reminds us that love, when embraced boldly, can surprise us, inspire us, and transform not only our own lives but the lives of those around us. Love asks us to step forward with courage, to declare our commitment even when the world is uncertain, and to honor the connections that give life its deepest meaning. In this way, celebrating love boldly is not just an act of the heart, it is an act of leadership, a testament to resilience, and a reflection of our own humanity. History is full of those who embraced love boldly, and in doing so, changed the course of their lives and their communities. Consider Frederick Douglass, who, despite living in a society that sought to deny his humanity, claimed love as a central force in his life. His marriage and the care he showed for his family were acts of resistance in themselves, asserting that love is a form of courage, a statement that even in the face of oppression, we have the right to connect deeply, openly, and meaningfully. By celebrating love boldly, we affirm our dignity, our values, and our capacity to nurture those around us. This kind of bold love is not limited to romantic relationships. It is also the love we show for family, friends, and communities. Michelle Obama often speaks of love as an act of service, of presence, and of dedication. She has spoken about the ways in which her love for her family and her belief in the potential of young people in this country guided her work and gave her the courage to take on challenges she could not have imagined alone. Love, expressed boldly, can be transformative. It can propel us to act, to speak, and to lead in ways that create ripples far beyond our immediate circle. There's also a lesson in historical courage. Love requires risk. The women and men who fought for civil rights in America knew the dangers of stepping forward, yet they were driven by love, love for justice, love for their communities, love for the possibility of a better world. Their commitment was unwavering, and their willingness to stand boldly, even when fear was present, serves as a reminder that love is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and often revolutionary. To celebrate love boldly is to act with intention, to honor what matters most, and to let that devotion shine even when the world does not yet understand. In our personal lives, embracing love boldly often means letting go of hesitation, pride, or fear. It means speaking truth, sharing joy, and showing up for others without reservation. Think of the intimate moments that define our relationships: the first declaration of commitment, the quiet support offered during hard times, the celebration of milestones, whether grand or small. These moments carry the same power as the large acts of history, for they shape the hearts and minds of those we hold dear. Each gesture of love, each step toward connection, builds resilience, understanding, and meaning. Love also teaches us patience and empathy. By celebrating love boldly, we acknowledge that relationships are not static. They grow, evolve, and deepen over time. The partnerships of history, whether between leaders, activists, or ordinary families, often thrived because of this willingness to nurture, to listen, and to act in service of one another. Eleanor Roosevelt's partnership with Franklin Roosevelt, for example, was grounded not only in affection, but in a mutual commitment to purpose, vision, and the well-being of others. Bold love combines heart and intention, affection and action. And love is not always public. Sometimes it is quiet, intimate, and fiercely personal. The beauty of discovering that a wedding had already happened is precisely this. The love was present, real, and powerful, even before it was announced. Similarly, our lives are full of moments where love is at work behind the scenes, shaping choices, inspiring courage, and giving life to new possibilities. By acknowledging and celebrating these moments, we honor the human capacity to connect, to heal, and to inspire. Bold love also teaches courage in vulnerability. To love deeply is to risk disappointment, loss, or misunderstanding. Yet those who have shaped history knew that the richness of life comes from embracing vulnerability. From the friendships that sustained the civil rights movement to the partnerships that guided scientific and cultural achievements, love and courage are intertwined. It is in the willingness to open our hearts, to trust, and to act with intention that we find our most profound strength. Ultimately, celebrating love boldly is an act of presence, courage, and legacy. It asks us to step fully into life, to recognize the value of connection, and to act in ways that honor not only ourselves but the people around us. Love, expressed boldly, transforms ordinary moments into milestones, challenges into opportunities, and relationships into legacies that echo across generations. So as we reflect on the surprise of a quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that love, when embraced with courage and clarity, has the power to illuminate our lives and the lives of those we touch. Every act of bold love, whether small or grand, resonates across time, contributing to a story far greater than ourselves. In celebrating love boldly, we honor our capacity to grow, to connect, and to leave behind a chorus of timeless voices that will inspire generations to come. There is something profound in the connections between generations, in the way the lessons of the past quietly shape the possibilities of the future. When we reflect on a story like the surprise wedding, an unexpected moment that calls for reflection and understanding, we can see the threads of intergenerational wisdom woven through it. This wisdom does not arrive in a moment of announcement or fanfare. It arrives quietly, patiently, passed down from parents to children, from elders to young people, from those who have walked paths we have not yet traveled. In every relationship, in every encounter, there is the potential to learn not just about ourselves, but about the generations who came before us and the generations who will follow. History is full of examples where intergenerational wisdom guided individuals toward courage, insight, and purpose. Think of Eleanor Roosevelt, who drew on the experiences of her parents and mentors to shape a life of service and advocacy. She understood that our ability to lead, to create change, and to influence the world is strengthened when we listen deeply to those who have gone before us. By absorbing their stories, learning from their triumphs and mistakes, and honoring their perspective, we gain not only knowledge but the humility to act with care and foresight. In this, we see that wisdom is not simply the accumulation of facts, but the thoughtful application of lived experience across time. In our families, intergenerational wisdom often shows up in subtle ways: a mother's advice, a grandparent's stories, a parent's encouragement. These small gestures, repeated over years, shape character, instill resilience, and cultivate perspective. Michelle Obama frequently reflects on how her mother's steadfast guidance and quiet confidence informed her own decisions, teaching her the importance of integrity, empathy, and diligence. The lessons she received were not always articulated in words. Often, they were lived examples, silent yet powerful demonstrations of how to navigate challenges, celebrate successes, and uphold values. In our own lives, we too are shaped by these examples, and it is in our awareness of them that we find both grounding and inspiration. The civil rights movement offers another profound lesson in intergenerational wisdom. Older activists, who had endured unimaginable hardships, shared strategies, courage, and insight with younger generations, equipping them to carry the movement forward. This transfer of wisdom was not merely about tactics, it was about instilling hope, resilience, and moral clarity. Leaders like John Lewis often spoke about learning from those who came before him, about understanding the sacrifices and the victories that made progress possible. The younger generations, in turn, contributed fresh energy, innovative ideas, and determination, creating a dynamic continuum where each generation learns from, supports, and elevates the next. In this, we see a model for personal and collective growth. Progress is never achieved in isolation. It is the product of connection, dialogue, and shared purpose across time. Intergenerational wisdom also teaches us patience and perspective. When we encounter challenges, the experiences of those who have come before can remind us that obstacles are part of a larger journey. Abraham Lincoln's own life, filled with setbacks, losses, and unexpected turns, demonstrates this vividly. He often drew strength from the stories of others, from the history that preceded him, and from the values instilled by his upbringing. In moments of doubt, reflecting on the lessons of the past can provide clarity, grounding, and the courage to act decisively. This wisdom is not static, it is dynamic and evolving. Each generation adds its own voice, its own interpretation, its own contribution to the legacy passed down. Just as we learn from those before us, we also have the responsibility to offer insight, encouragement, and guidance to those who will follow. Michelle Obama often emphasizes the importance of mentorship, of taking the lessons we have learned and using them to lift others, to create opportunities, and to inspire courage and confidence in the next generation. This is the essence of intergenerational wisdom. It is both received and given, a living exchange that shapes character, values, and purpose. In personal relationships, this exchange might be subtle: a quiet story shared over dinner, advice offered in a moment of need, a lesson in perseverance modeled through action rather than words. But the impact is profound. Just as we are shaped by the experiences of those who came before, the actions we take, the guidance we provide, and the example we set shape those who will carry our legacy forward. There is a responsibility in this continuity, a sacred trust that the knowledge, values, and love we impart will ripple through time, influencing lives in ways we may never fully see. Intergenerational wisdom also encourages reflection. When we pause to consider the lessons of our elders, we cultivate gratitude, empathy, and perspective. We learn that the struggles we face today are part of a continuum, that victories are built on the courage of those who came before, and that our own choices contribute to a legacy that extends far beyond ourselves. In embracing this wisdom, we honor both the past and the future, recognizing that our lives are intertwined with the stories of countless others. Ultimately, cherishing intergenerational wisdom is a form of reverence for life, for growth, and for the shared human experience. It reminds us that our actions matter, that our choices ripple forward, and that our understanding is deepened when we listen, observe, and learn from those who have walked the path before us. Every conversation, every story, every lesson passed down is part of a larger, enduring tapestry, a living testimony of resilience, courage, and love. So as we reflect on the small, yet profound moments of life, like the surprise of a quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that intergenerational wisdom connects us across time, grounding us in values, teaching us courage, and inspiring us to act with intention. By honoring the lessons of the past and sharing them with those who come after us, we participate in a chorus of understanding and growth, contributing to the enduring narrative of timeless voices. Life is often measured in what appear to be small, ordinary moments, yet it is in these very moments that the most profound lessons are hidden. When we think of that quietly celebrated wedding, the one that had already happened before anyone realized, it is a reminder that life's significance is not always announced with grandeur. Sometimes the most important events, the ones that shape our hearts, our character, and our understanding of the world, occur quietly, subtly, almost imperceptibly. And if we pay attention, if we remain present, we discover that even the smallest moments carry wisdom, courage, and meaning. History teaches us that transformative change often begins in the quietest ways. Take the example of Rosa Parks, whose decision to remain seated on a bus in Montgomery might have seemed small in the moment, yet it sparked a movement that transformed a nation. That single act, seemingly ordinary, reveals a powerful truth. Big lessons often arise from small, deliberate actions. Every choice we make, every act of attention or integrity, can ripple outward in ways we cannot fully see, influencing lives and shaping history in ways that are both profound and lasting. Small moments also teach patience and observation. Abraham Lincoln, in his early years, spent long hours observing people, reading letters, and listening to the stories of those around him. These seemingly mundane moments gave him insight into human nature, justice, and morality, lessons that would guide his leadership during the Civil War. He understood that wisdom is not always forged in the spotlight, but often in reflection, quiet learning, and attentive listening. The lesson for us is clear. We must honor the ordinary, for it is often the foundation of extraordinary growth. Our personal lives are filled with these small moments. A shared smile, a quiet conversation, a gesture of kindness. These are not trivial. Michelle Obama often speaks about the importance of noticing, appreciating, and acting in these small, meaningful ways. She emphasizes that leadership, empathy, and influence are nurtured in everyday interactions, in the consistent practice of care, respect, and attention to others. Each of these seemingly minor acts carries lessons about patience, resilience, and intentionality, shaping our character over time. Consider the countless unsung heroes in American history whose contributions were quiet yet monumental. Harriet Tubman led people to freedom, often without recognition, relying on courage, vigilance, and intimate knowledge of the terrain. Her daily acts of bravery, the careful planning, the quiet guidance, the thoughtful listening, were small moments that collectively achieved something enormous. From this, we learn that leadership and impact are not always flashy or public. They are cultivated in the details, in deliberate action, and in mindful attention to what truly matters. Small moments also teach humility. They remind us that life is not only about achieving milestones or receiving accolades, but about being present, noticing, and valuing the people and experiences around us. Eleanor Roosevelt often emphasized the importance of service and empathy, of attending to the details of others' lives, and of embracing the quiet opportunities to make a difference. By cultivating awareness and gratitude for these moments, we develop the emotional intelligence, empathy, and wisdom that define lasting impact. The lessons of small moments extend to resilience and adaptability. Life, like history, is full of surprises and setbacks, but it is how we respond to these moments that shapes our growth. Martin Luther King Jr., for instance, engaged in countless acts of quiet preparation, reflection, and perseverance before addressing large audiences and leading public demonstrations. His daily commitment to reflection, study, and small acts of service fortified him to face enormous challenges with grace and courage. In our own lives, we too can find strength and clarity in embracing the small steps, the quiet practices, and the seemingly ordinary opportunities for learning and growth. Small moments also remind us of the interconnectedness of life. Each interaction, each choice, each act of attention contributes to a larger tapestry. The surprise wedding, the unnoticed gesture of kindness, the quiet mentoring of a young person, these are all threads in a narrative that extends beyond ourselves. Michelle Obama often highlights that progress and change are the product of countless small acts, woven together over time, creating impact that we may never fully see. In this, we learn patience, humility, and the importance of contributing to something larger than ourselves. Moreover, small moments teach gratitude. They ask us to slow down, to notice, and to celebrate the seemingly insignificant details of our lives. Whether it is the laughter of a loved one, the warmth of a supportive gesture, or the quiet courage of someone facing difficulty, these moments carry profound lessons about what it means to live fully, to act with integrity, and to lead with heart. They remind us that life's richness is often found not in monumental events alone, but in the accumulation of small, intentional choices that define our character and our relationships. Ultimately, small moments offer timeless lessons in courage, empathy, patience, and connection. They show us that life is a series of opportunities to learn, to grow, and to make an impact if only we pay attention. History teaches us, and our own lives confirm, that the extraordinary often emerges from the ordinary. When we embrace the quiet moments, when we see their value, we cultivate a depth of understanding, a richness of character, and a capacity for leadership that is both enduring and profound. So as we reflect on the surprise of a quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that every small moment is a teacher, every ordinary experience a potential turning point. By honoring these moments, by learning from them, and by acting with intention and presence, we contribute to a legacy of wisdom, courage, and love. In attending to the small, we become participants in the larger story of human growth, connection, and history, a story that resounds across generations in the chorus of timeless voices. Leadership is not always defined by words or titles, but by action. It is shaped not only by what we say, but by what we do, the example we set, and the integrity with which we navigate life's challenges. The story of the quietly celebrated wedding reminds us that every action, even those that seem ordinary or unseen, carries significance. Leadership through example begins in the small, everyday choices, the way we treat others, the way we honor our commitments, the way we show up with consistency, grace, and courage. History has taught us time and again that the leaders who leave the most lasting impact are those who model the values they wish to see, who act with empathy, and who live intentionally. Consider Eleanor Roosevelt, whose leadership was defined not only by her advocacy and public presence, but by her willingness to live her values in tangible ways. She listened deeply, engaged compassionately, and never asked of others what she would not do herself. Her example inspired countless individuals to believe in their own power and potential, demonstrating that leadership is less about authority and more about influence rooted in authenticity. Michelle Obama carries this same lesson into her life and work, showing us that our daily actions, our consistent commitment to integrity, and our attention to the needs of those around us are the truest measures of leadership. History offers countless examples of leadership through example, especially in times of challenge. Martin Luther King Jr., for instance, did not ask others to sacrifice what he was unwilling to sacrifice himself. He lived his principles of nonviolence, justice, and courage every day, even when faced with personal danger. His life teaches us that integrity in action speaks louder than any speech or promise. The quiet, consistent demonstration of values, even in the face of adversity, has the power to inspire others to rise, to act, and to carry forward a shared vision. Leadership through example is contagious. It invites participation, nurtures trust, and builds collective strength. In our personal lives, leadership through example manifests in ways both subtle and profound. Parenting, mentoring, and friendship are all arenas in which our actions carry lessons. The way we approach our commitments, the respect we show to others, and the compassion we extend in everyday interactions model a path for those around us. Michelle Obama often emphasizes that leadership is not confined to public stages. It begins at home, in our communities, and in our personal relationships. By living authentically and courageously, we teach others the power of integrity, the strength of empathy, and the impact of purposeful action. There's also a lesson in humility embedded in leadership through example. Great leaders understand that their example is not about self-aggrandizement, but about elevating others. Harriet Tubman's life exemplifies this beautifully. She did not seek recognition for her courage. She sought freedom for others, guiding hundreds through danger with unwavering bravery. Her leadership was lived through every act of guidance, protection, and sacrifice. In this, we learn that true leadership is measured not by accolades, but by the lives we touch and the inspiration we provide through action. Leadership through example also requires resilience. Life is full of moments when integrity is tested, when courage is needed, and when the easy path tempts us away from what is right. Abraham Lincoln faced countless challenges that could have undermined his principles, yet he consistently acted in ways that reflected his commitment to justice, unity, and humanity. Leaders like Lincoln teach us that leadership is forged in perseverance, in the consistent choice to act in alignment with values, even when circumstances are difficult, and even when the results are not immediately visible. By embracing leadership through example, we cultivate influence that transcends authority. The women and men of the civil rights movement understood this intimately. They led not only through speeches or policy, but through daily demonstration of courage, patience, and moral clarity. Their actions created a ripple effect, inspiring others to participate, to speak up, and to stand for what is right. Leadership is, in essence, relational. It is about inspiring confidence, hope, and action through the example we set. Even in small, personal moments, leadership through example has power. The way we respond to challenges, the kindness we extend to others, the ethical decisions we make when no one is watching, these are all expressions of leadership. Michelle Obama consistently reminds us that these moments accumulate, that the choices we make daily shape not only our character, but the environment we create for those around us. Our influence begins in the ordinary, building toward the extraordinary. Ultimately, leadership through example is a form of service. It reminds us that our actions are not isolated. They are part of a continuum that affects communities, families, and generations. By living intentionally, with empathy, courage, and integrity, we model a way of being that others can follow. The quietly celebrated wedding reminds us that sometimes the most meaningful leadership is expressed not in public announcements, but in the steady, deliberate choices that shape lives quietly but profoundly. So, as we reflect on our own lives and the moments we inhabit, let us remember that true leadership is lived, not proclaimed. Every act of kindness, every demonstration of courage, every intentional decision contributes to a legacy of influence and inspiration. When we lead by example, we honor not only our own potential but the possibilities of those around us, and we add our voice to the enduring chorus of timeless voices. Life has a way of placing us in situations that test our patience, our courage, and our integrity. It is in these moments of challenge, when pressure mounts and expectations weigh heavily upon us, that the true measure of character emerges. The story of a wedding quietly celebrated, something unexpected, something that challenges our assumptions, serves as a small mirror to life's larger trials. It reminds us that we cannot control every circumstance, but we can control how we respond, how we carry ourselves, and how we preserve our dignity amidst the unexpected. Grace under pressure is the silent, powerful force that allows us to navigate life's storms with composure, clarity, and courage. History teaches us that grace under pressure is often the hallmark of true leadership. Abraham Lincoln faced a nation divided, a civil war raging, and personal anguish that would have broken many men. Yet he navigated these immense pressures with calm reflection, measured decision-making, and unwavering commitment to principle. He demonstrated that responding with grace, rather than yielding to panic or despair, allows us to act in ways that are both thoughtful and transformative. His legacy is a testament to the idea that composure in the face of adversity is not merely a personal virtue. It is a force that shapes the lives of countless others. Grace under pressure is also evident in the quiet heroes of history, whose courage often went unnoticed in their time. Consider Rosa Parks, whose refusal to give up her seat on that Montgomery bus might have seemed like a small act of defiance, yet it demanded extraordinary poise and inner strength. She met immense societal pressure with dignity, knowing that her choices carried consequences far beyond herself. Her composure in that moment became a catalyst for a movement that changed the nation. From her, we learn that true courage is inseparable from grace, and that the way we conduct ourselves in challenging situations speaks volumes about our character and our capacity to inspire others. In our personal lives, grace under pressure allows us to navigate conflict with wisdom and empathy. Michelle Obama often emphasizes the importance of emotional intelligence, the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. She has spoken about the many challenges of public life and how maintaining composure, even when under scrutiny or criticism, is both a practical and moral imperative. By cultivating grace under pressure, we not only preserve our own sense of self-respect, but also provide a model for others, demonstrating that strength is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to act with integrity in its presence. Grace under pressure also teaches resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. Harriet Tubman, navigating perilous paths to guide people to freedom, faced extreme danger with unwavering resolve. Her ability to remain calm, make careful decisions, and act decisively under life-threatening conditions is a profound example of grace in action. It reminds us that resilience is not simply enduring hardship. It is engaging with it thoughtfully, ethically, and purposefully, transforming challenges into opportunities to serve, to lead, and to protect others. The concept extends to communities and movements as well. During the civil rights era, countless individuals faced systemic oppression, intimidation, and violence. Yet they persevered, moving forward with courage and composure. Their grace under pressure did not come from a lack of fear or struggle, but from the conscious choice to respond with dignity, to remain steadfast in their principles, and to support one another through the weight of adversity. In doing so, they created a ripple effect, inspiring countless others to act with courage and integrity, even when circumstances seemed insurmountable. Even in everyday life, grace under pressure transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for growth. Consider a family navigating conflict, a workplace facing unexpected challenges, or a community confronting crisis. The ability to remain composed, to act with empathy, and to make decisions guided by principle rather than emotion cultivates trust, strengthens relationships, and fosters an environment in which solutions can flourish. It is in these moments that our personal and collective character is truly revealed. Grace under pressure also encourages reflection and self-awareness. When we pause to consider how our actions affect others, when we choose patience over reaction, we demonstrate not only courage but wisdom. Michelle Obama frequently reminds audiences that leadership and influence are amplified when paired with thoughtful deliberation and emotional steadiness. This grace allows us to navigate complexity without losing sight of our values or the people we serve. Ultimately, cultivating grace under pressure is a practice in courage, empathy, and integrity. It reminds us that we cannot always change what happens to us, but we can choose how we respond. It teaches us that composure is not a sign of weakness, but of strength, and that thoughtful action under stress has the power to inspire, to heal, and to lead. By embodying grace in challenging moments, we honor ourselves, those around us, and the legacy of all who have walked the path before us. So as we reflect on that quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that grace under pressure is a lesson woven into the fabric of every human experience. It teaches us resilience, courage, and empathy, guiding us to respond to life's unexpected moments with dignity and purpose. When we meet challenges with composure and act with integrity, we contribute to a timeless legacy, leaving our own mark in the enduring chorus of timeless voices. Listening is often underestimated in a world that celebrates speaking, action, and visibility. Yet, history and human experience teach us that true understanding, leadership, and connection begin with the simple, profound act of listening. When I think of the quietly celebrated wedding, the moment of surprise and reflection. It reminds me that much of life's meaning, much of its wisdom, is revealed when we pause, pay attention, and open ourselves to the stories of others. To listen deeply is to honor another person's experience, to create space for growth, and to cultivate empathy that transcends circumstance. Throughout history, the power of listening has shaped the course of nations and the lives of countless individuals. Consider Abraham Lincoln, a man who faced extraordinary challenges yet consistently sought the counsel and perspective of others. He listened to advisors, opponents, and citizens alike, weighing their insights carefully before acting. This attentiveness allowed him to navigate the complexities of a divided nation with wisdom, integrity, and empathy. From Lincoln, we learn that listening is not passive. It is an active, intentional, and courageous act that can change the trajectory of events. In our personal lives, listening transforms relationships. Michelle Obama often emphasizes that leadership and influence are inseparable from the ability to truly hear others. Whether it is in a family, a community, or a workplace, listening allows us to understand needs, validate experiences, and foster trust. It is through listening that we learn not only about the people around us but also about ourselves, our biases, our assumptions, and our capacity for growth. The quiet moments of attention, the willingness to pause and really hear another voice, are where understanding and connection are born. Historical movements also demonstrate the transformative power of listening. The women and men of the civil rights movement, for example, built coalitions by listening to one another, by understanding diverse perspectives, and by creating strategies that reflected collective wisdom. They recognized that progress was not possible without dialogue, empathy, and the ability to incorporate multiple voices into a shared vision. Listening, in this context, was both an act of courage and a tool for creating lasting impact. The power of listening is also intertwined with humility. To listen deeply requires setting aside ego, suspending judgment, and acknowledging that we do not have all the answers. Harriet Tubman, guiding countless individuals to freedom, exemplified this principle. She attentively read the needs of those she helped, responding to fears, questions, and challenges with care and wisdom. Her ability to listen, truly listen, was integral to her effectiveness as a leader and a guide. Listening, when done with intention, cultivates trust, safety, and courage. Listening also teaches us patience. Michelle Obama often speaks about the importance of timing and reflection in decision-making. When we take the time to listen fully, we create space for clarity, understanding, and thoughtful action. Reacting impulsively or assuming we know what another person needs can close doors. Listening opens them. It allows for insight to emerge, for perspectives to shift, and for relationships to deepen. In a culture that often prizes speed and assertiveness, listening is a revolutionary act, one that honors the human experience and fosters connection. Furthermore, listening fosters resilience. When we encounter challenges or conflict, the ability to listen, to truly understand opposing perspectives, allows us to respond with wisdom rather than frustration. Martin Luther King Jr. exemplified this in his work, listening to the concerns and hopes of diverse communities, even in the face of hostility and risk. His ability to hear deeply, to integrate multiple voices into a cohesive vision for justice, demonstrates that listening is a strategic and moral strength. The act of listening also reminds us of our shared humanity. Every story, every perspective, offers insight into the human condition, our struggles, our triumphs, our desires, and our fears. By listening attentively, we cultivate empathy and compassion, recognizing that even in moments of surprise or uncertainty, we are connected by common experiences. The wedding story reminds us that life is filled with small, profound lessons if we take the time to pay attention. Ultimately, listening is a pathway to growth, understanding, and influence. It teaches patience, empathy, humility, and resilience. It allows us to learn from history, from the experiences of others, and from the quiet, unassuming moments that shape our lives. By listening, we honor the voices of those who came before us, support those around us, and prepare ourselves to contribute meaningfully to the generations that follow. So, as we reflect on the unexpected celebration of that quietly held wedding, we are reminded that the power of listening is woven into every meaningful interaction. By pausing, paying attention, and hearing the stories of others, we participate in a living legacy of wisdom, empathy, and courage. In choosing to listen, we join the enduring chorus of timeless voices, carrying forward lessons that transcend time and shape the human experience. Life often presents moments when the past closes quietly behind us, and we are invited to step into the unknown. The story of learning that a wedding had already taken place, the surprise and the reflection it inspires, is a reminder that life is full of opportunities to start anew, sometimes unexpectedly, sometimes without preparation. To summon the courage to start again, to embrace change and step forward with hope, is one of the most profound acts of human resilience. History shows us that those who dared to begin again, even in the face of uncertainty, often shaped not only their own lives but the destiny of others. Consider Abraham Lincoln, who experienced multiple political defeats, personal losses, and setbacks before ultimately becoming one of the most influential presidents in American history. Each failure could have been a reason to stop, to retreat into despair, yet he continually found the courage to start anew. Lincoln's life teaches us that beginnings, even after disappointment or hardship, are opportunities for growth, wisdom, and transformation. The courage to start again is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to act despite it. In personal life, starting anew often requires reflection and humility. Michelle Obama speaks frequently about the necessity of embracing change, of taking bold steps even when we feel unprepared. She emphasizes that growth and transformation often begin when we release attachment to how things should be and open ourselves to what could be. Just as a marriage quietly celebrated teaches the beauty of unexpected beginnings, our own lives are filled with moments that invite us to pivot, to reinvent, and to step boldly into the next chapter. Courage is found in acknowledging fear and uncertainty while moving forward anyway. History is full of examples of individuals who embraced new beginnings with bravery and vision. Harriet Tubman, after escaping slavery herself, returned repeatedly to guide others to freedom. Each journey she undertook was an act of starting anew, not for personal gain, but for the sake of others. Her courage reminds us that starting again is rarely only about ourselves. It can be an opportunity to serve, to lead, and to transform the world around us. In this, we learn that beginnings are sacred, carrying both personal and collective significance. Even in the broader arc of society, courage to start anew has shaped pivotal moments in U.S. history. After periods of division, struggle, and upheaval, leaders and citizens alike have chosen to embrace change, to envision new possibilities, and to act despite uncertainty. The civil rights movement, for instance, required people to imagine a world beyond the limitations imposed upon them and to take bold steps into unknown, often dangerous territory. Each act of courage was a new beginning, a conscious choice to refuse stagnation and to pursue justice, dignity, and equality. Starting anew also demands resilience and patience. It is rarely instantaneous or easy. It requires sustained effort, reflection, and sometimes the willingness to fail before finding success. Michelle Obama often emphasizes that growth is a process, that meaningful change takes persistence, courage, and the humility to learn from setbacks. The quietly celebrated wedding reminds us that beginnings are often unheralded, small, and intimate, yet they hold enormous potential. What seems ordinary in the moment can become extraordinary over time, shaping lives, families, and communities. The courage to start again also involves hope, the ability to see possibility where others might see finality. Leaders like Eleanor Roosevelt and Martin Luther King Jr. exemplified this hope, continually imagining a better world and taking action to realize it, even when the odds were daunting. Starting anew requires us to embrace possibility, to step forward without knowing the full outcome, and to trust in our ability to shape the future. Each new beginning is an opportunity to redefine ourselves, to align our actions with our values, and to contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. Even ordinary moments can teach extraordinary lessons about renewal. A conversation, a decision, a quiet commitment, these can become catalysts for new chapters in our lives. Listening, Reflecting and choosing courage over fear allows us to embrace opportunities as they arise. Michelle Obama reminds us that progress, whether personal or collective, begins with the willingness to start, to act, and to move forward in alignment with our highest ideals. The courage to start anew transforms not only our own trajectory, but the possibilities of those around us. Ultimately, the courage to start anew is a celebration of resilience, hope, and human potential. It invites us to release what no longer serves us, to embrace the unknown with determination, and to step boldly into life's unfolding story. History shows us that new beginnings, even small or unexpected ones, can ripple across generations, shaping lives, communities, and legacies. So, as we reflect on the surprise of a quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that each day, each moment, carries the potential to begin again. By embracing change with courage, hope, and intention, we honor the enduring power of human growth, and we join the chorus of timeless voices, carrying forward the lessons, wisdom, and inspiration of those who have come before and those who will follow. Forgiveness is one of the most profound acts of courage a person can embrace. It is often misunderstood as weakness or surrender, but in truth, forgiveness is an act of strength, an assertion of dignity, and a conscious choice to move forward unburdened by past hurt. The story of the quietly celebrated wedding, the surprise, the reflection, the lessons it inspires, reminds us that life is full of moments where we must choose between holding on to resentment or releasing it in order to grow. Forgiveness allows us to reclaim our power, to cultivate peace within, and to create space for connection and understanding. History is filled with extraordinary examples of. In our personal lives, forgiveness is equally powerful. Michelle Obama often speaks about the importance of navigating relationships with grace, empathy, and understanding. Forgiveness allows us to honor the humanity in others while maintaining our own dignity. It requires reflection, humility, and the courage to see beyond our immediate pain. When we forgive, we are not excusing harm or forgetting injustice. We are choosing to release the hold that anger, resentment, or betrayal has on our hearts. This is not an easy task. It is a decision that demands inner strength and patience, but it is one of the most liberating and empowering acts we can perform. The civil rights movement offers a vivid illustration of the courage to forgive on a societal scale. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. preached nonviolence and reconciliation in the face of profound injustice and oppression. They understood that holding on to hatred, even when justified, perpetuates suffering, whereas forgiveness can create space for healing, progress, and unity. King's courage to forgive transformed not only his life, but the lives of millions, showing that true courage is inseparable from empathy, patience, and moral clarity. Forgiveness also requires vulnerability. To forgive is to open ourselves to the possibility of being hurt again, to release control over the outcomes, and to trust that our strength lies not in retaliation, but in the courage to embrace compassion. Eleanor Roosevelt demonstrated this in her personal and public life, maintaining grace in the face of personal challenges while advocating for justice and human rights. Her example teaches us that forgiveness is an active choice, one that demands resilience, self-awareness, and moral fortitude. Even small acts of forgiveness can carry immense impact. A kind word, a decision to let go of a grievance, or the willingness to empathize with someone who has caused pain can ripple outward, fostering understanding, harmony, and personal growth. Michelle Obama frequently highlights the transformative potential of these moments, emphasizing that the cumulative effect of small acts of courage, kindness, and forgiveness can shape communities, influence relationships, and create a legacy of hope and compassion. Forgiveness also teaches perspective. It allows us to step back and see the broader context of human behavior, recognizing that everyone is shaped by their experiences, struggles, and fears. This does not justify wrongdoing, but it invites empathy and understanding, and it frees us from the corrosive effects of anger. In the quiet moments of reflection, such as considering the unexpected wedding celebration, we can practice this perspective, learning to approach life with compassion while remaining grounded in our values. Moreover, forgiveness strengthens resilience. By letting go of resentment and choosing peace, We create the emotional and mental space to focus on growth, connection, and purpose. It is a form of self-liberation, a conscious act of empowerment that allows us to move forward with clarity and intention. Michelle Obama has spoken about the importance of cultivating inner strength and grace, noting that resilience is often built not in moments of victory, but in how we respond to setbacks, challenges, and injustices. Forgiveness is one of the most potent tools in that process. Ultimately, the courage to forgive is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for growth, compassion, and transformation. It reminds us that holding on to hurt limits our potential, whereas releasing it opens us to possibility, connection, and purpose. Forgiveness is not a single act but a practice, a daily choice that shapes our character, our relationships, and the world we influence. So, as we reflect on the quiet surprise of that wedding, we are reminded that forgiveness, like love, courage, and hope, is a force that transforms lives. By embracing the courage to forgive, we honor both our own humanity and the potential for growth in others, and we contribute to a legacy of wisdom, empathy, and resilience that echoes through generations in the enduring chorus of timeless voices. Change is one of life's few certainties, yet it is often the source of our deepest fears and our most profound growth. The story of learning that a wedding had quietly occurred is a small, intimate example of the surprises life holds, reminding us that circumstances do not always unfold as we anticipate. It is in these moments that courage becomes essential, not just the courage to act, but the courage to accept, adapt, and move forward with intention. Embracing change is not always comfortable. It requires resilience, reflection, and an openness to possibilities we might not have imagined. Yet history shows us that those who approach change with courage often find that it is in the unexpected turns of life where their greatest growth and impact reside. Consider Abraham Lincoln once more, a man who navigated tremendous personal and national upheaval. Lincoln faced the loss of loved ones, repeated political setbacks, and a country on the brink of fracture. Yet he met each moment of change with determination, reflection, and steadfast purpose. He embraced the challenges before him, allowing the shifting circumstances to inform his leadership rather than paralyze him with fear. From his life, we learn that courage in the face of change is not merely enduring it. It is engaging with it thoughtfully, learning from it, and transforming it into opportunity. Michelle Obama often reflects on her own experiences with change, the transition from private life to the public spotlight, the responsibilities of leadership, and the shifts in personal and professional identity. She reminds us that growth often comes from stepping into unfamiliar terrain, and that our willingness to embrace change shapes not only our trajectory, but the impact we have on others. Change invites us to examine our assumptions, reconsider our priorities, and cultivate resilience. It asks us to confront uncertainty with grace, clarity, and courage. History provides countless examples of courage in the face of societal change. The civil rights movement demanded that individuals embrace the challenge of transforming a nation's moral and social framework. Leaders and ordinary citizens alike faced immense uncertainty, personal risk, and societal opposition. Yet their courage to act, adapt, and persist in the face of change reshaped the landscape of American life. They teach us that meaningful progress often requires the willingness to step into the unknown, to confront discomfort, and to pursue a vision of a better future despite the challenges that accompany it. Embracing change also requires humility and reflection. It is an acknowledgement that we cannot control every outcome, but we can control how we respond. Michelle Obama frequently emphasizes the importance of maintaining one's values and integrity while adapting to new circumstances. When we face unexpected events, like the quiet surprise of a wedding, we have the choice to resist or to engage thoughtfully. Choosing to engage opens opportunities for learning, connection, and growth. It is through this lens that change transforms from a source of anxiety into a teacher, offering lessons in resilience, perspective, and courage. The courage to embrace change often manifests in small, deliberate acts. A decision to listen, to empathize, or to pivot in the face of unexpected circumstances can ripple outward, shaping relationships, communities, and even broader societal trends. Eleanor Roosevelt, for example, embraced personal and social change throughout her life, using her evolving experiences to advocate for human rights, equality, and dignity. Her willingness to adapt, reflect, and act courageously in the face of shifting circumstances serves as a powerful model for how we might navigate our own transformations with grace and intention. Even ordinary people embody this courage every day. Families, communities, and individuals face transitions, moving to a new city, starting a new job, navigating changes in relationships that require the same steadiness and resilience as the leaders we admire. Michelle Obama often reminds us that courage is not only about public acts of heroism, it is about the quiet, consistent choices to meet life with integrity, flexibility, and hope. Each moment of adaptation, each thoughtful response to change, contributes to our personal growth and strengthens the connections we have with those around us. Change also teaches perspective. When we reflect on our experiences, both challenging and joyful, we recognize that each phase of life carries lessons that shape who we are and who we become. By embracing change with courage, we cultivate the ability to see beyond immediate discomfort, understanding that transformation often precedes growth. We learn patience, empathy, and resilience, recognizing that life's unexpected turns can lead to opportunities, insight, and fulfillment that we might never have envisioned. Ultimately, embracing change with courage is an act of faith in ourselves and in the unfolding of life. It is a conscious decision to move forward despite fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It is a commitment to growth, connection, and purpose. By facing change with courage, we honor the lessons of history, the strength of those who came before us, and the potential of those who will follow. So, as we reflect on the quietly celebrated wedding and the unexpected moments it brings, we are reminded that change is not something to resist but a force to engage with thoughtfully and bravely. By embracing it with courage, we shape our own path, inspire others, and contribute to a timeless legacy of resilience, wisdom, and hope, an enduring chorus of timeless voices. There is a remarkable power in allowing ourselves to be seen as we truly are, imperfect, uncertain, and human. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, yet history and lived experience teach us that it is, in fact, a source of extraordinary strength. The story of the quietly celebrated wedding reminds us that life's most meaningful moments often arrive without announcement, without preparation, and without guarantee. To engage with life fully, to step forward into the unknown, and to embrace our own feelings and fears with honesty requires courage. In vulnerability, we discover our capacity for growth, empathy, and connection. History is filled with figures who demonstrated the strength found in vulnerability. Consider Abraham Lincoln, who openly wrestled with self-doubt, personal grief, and the immense pressures of a nation in crisis. He did not conceal his struggles. He engaged with them thoughtfully, allowing his humanity to inform his leadership. This openness created a bridge between him and the people he served. Lincoln's life teaches us that embracing our vulnerabilities does not diminish our influence. Rather, it enhances it, fostering trust, authenticity, and deeper understanding. Michelle Obama has often spoken about the ways vulnerability strengthens leadership. To be effective, she emphasizes, one must be willing to share one's experiences, to admit uncertainty, and to acknowledge the challenges we all face. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create space for others to do the same. We invite connection, trust, and understanding, and in doing so, we cultivate relationships that are resilient and meaningful. Vulnerability is not an abdication of strength. It is the act of showing up fully, despite fear or doubt. The civil rights movement provides a compelling example of collective vulnerability transforming into strength. Leaders and activists exposed themselves to risk, criticism, and danger as they pursued justice and equality. Their courage did not lie in the absence of fear, but in their willingness to act despite it, to bear witness to injustice, and to share their humanity openly with others. In these moments of vulnerability, they demonstrated moral courage, empathy, and perseverance that inspired an entire nation. Even in everyday life, embracing vulnerability is transformative. Families, communities, and workplaces flourish when individuals share their authentic selves. Listening, admitting mistakes, seeking help, or expressing emotions openly are all forms of vulnerability that build trust and deepen connection. Michelle Obama emphasizes that real influence is rooted not in perfection or certainty, but in the willingness to show up honestly, to engage openly, and to model courage in the face of personal or collective challenges. Vulnerability also teaches resilience. It requires courage to face uncertainty, to confront our fears, and to expose our hearts to possible disappointment or criticism. Yet in doing so, we discover our own capacity for strength and adaptability. Harriet Tubman, guiding people to freedom under constant danger, demonstrated vulnerability by acknowledging the risks, yet she acted anyway, relying on her courage and commitment to others. Her example reminds us that embracing vulnerability can be a powerful motivator for action, empathy, and leadership. The strength in vulnerability is also linked to empathy. When we show our true selves, when we admit our fears and struggles, we allow others to connect with us more deeply. Eleanor Roosevelt exemplified this principle by openly sharing her experiences, challenges, and reflections while advocating for human rights. Her willingness to be vulnerable cultivated understanding and inspired others to engage in acts of compassion, courage, and leadership. Vulnerability, in this way, is both a personal practice and a social force. Moreover, vulnerability encourages authenticity. In a world that often rewards appearances of strength or perfection, allowing ourselves to be honest and open is a radical act. Michelle Obama consistently reminds us that authenticity builds trust, nurtures relationships, and fosters personal growth. By embracing vulnerability, we align our actions with our values, our words with our intentions, and our lives with our deeper sense of purpose. Ultimately, the strength in vulnerability is about courage, empathy, and connection. It teaches us that to be human is to experience fear, uncertainty, and imperfection, and that these qualities, when acknowledged and embraced, can become sources of power, insight, and transformation. By showing up fully, even when it is uncomfortable, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of authenticity and courage. So as we reflect on the quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that vulnerability is not a limitation, but a gateway to courage, growth, and meaningful connection. By embracing our humanity openly and honestly, we honor the lessons of history, the experiences of those around us, and our own potential to contribute to the enduring legacy of timeless voices. Legacy is not simply what we leave behind in monuments or words. It is the living imprint of our choices, our actions, and the way we influence the lives of others. It is the sum of the courage, kindness, and integrity we embody, expressed not only in grand gestures, but in the small, quiet acts that ripple outward across time. The story of the quietly celebrated wedding reminds us that life's most meaningful moments often happen without fanfare, and that the ways we shape relationships, communities, and ourselves leave enduring imprints that outlast our immediate presence. Legacy through action is the conscious commitment to live in alignment with our values and to inspire those around us through the power of example. History offers countless examples of individuals who created enduring legacies through their actions. Harriet Tubman, for instance, did not write her own biography in stone, yet her deeds, rescuing countless enslaved individuals, risking her own life repeatedly, continue to inspire generations. Her legacy is alive in every act of courage and justice that followed, in every story of resilience and moral conviction. She reminds us that legacy is not about recognition. It is about the tangible and intangible influence we leave behind in the lives we touch. Michelle Obama frequently speaks to the importance of intentional action in shaping legacy. She reminds us that every choice, no matter how small, contributes to a larger story. Whether mentoring young people, advocating for education, or simply treating others with dignity and empathy, our actions carry significance. Legacy is not reserved for the famous or the powerful. It is accessible to anyone willing to act with integrity, courage, and compassion. The quietly celebrated wedding illustrates this beautifully. Sometimes, The most meaningful impacts are those that unfold quietly in the lives of the people closest to us. Even ordinary lives can create extraordinary legacies when guided by principle. Eleanor Roosevelt, through her tireless advocacy for human rights, demonstrated that consistent action rooted in values can shape not only a lifetime but the broader course of society. By living her convictions, she influenced countless individuals, institutions, and movements. Her legacy reminds us that intentional, principled action, often performed quietly, patiently, and persistently, leaves enduring marks on the world. Legacy is also closely tied to courage and resilience. Abraham Lincoln faced immense challenges and personal loss, yet he acted with unwavering commitment to justice and unity. His legacy is not only the preservation of a nation, but the example of leadership grounded in principle, empathy, and moral clarity. History teaches us that lasting impact requires the courage to act consistently, even when the path is uncertain, the work is difficult, and recognition may never come. On a societal level, the civil rights movement exemplifies legacy through action. Leaders and activists risked their safety and endured hardships, yet they persisted in the pursuit of equality, justice, and dignity. Their legacy is woven into the fabric of American life, evident in the opportunities, freedoms, and protections we often take for granted today. Each act of courage, each protest, each act of service contributed to a collective legacy that continues to inspire and guide future generations. Legacy is not only created in moments of public attention, it is cultivated in everyday life. How we treat our families, mentor others, and contribute to our communities shapes the world in ways that may not be immediately visible. Michelle Obama emphasizes that these choices matter profoundly. By embodying integrity, empathy, and resilience in our daily interactions, we leave a mark that may ripple far beyond our awareness, influencing individuals, families, and communities in subtle but enduring ways. Furthermore, legacy is forward-looking. It is not merely about preserving the past, but about creating conditions for growth, opportunity, and inspiration for those who come after us. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., and countless others understood that their actions today would shape possibilities for generations yet to be born. In the same way, the quietly celebrated wedding reminds us that even seemingly small, personal moments can contribute to legacies of love, courage, and inspiration that extend beyond our immediate experience. Ultimately, legacy through action is a call to live intentionally, courageously, and compassionately. It is a recognition that every decision, every act, every choice to lead with integrity and purpose leaves an imprint that reverberates through time. By embracing this truth, we not only shape our own lives, but also contribute to a tapestry of human growth, resilience, and wisdom that benefits those around us and those yet to come. So, as we reflect on the quiet beauty of that wedding, we are reminded that legacy is created not in grand gestures alone, but in the intentional actions, choices, and values we embody each day. By living with purpose, courage, and empathy, we participate in the enduring chorus of timeless voices, leaving a mark that inspires, uplifts, and endures for generations. Life, in its complexity and unpredictability, offers each of us a singular question: how will we choose to live? The quietly celebrated wedding is a small yet profound reminder that moments in life arrive unexpectedly, and with them come opportunities to reflect, to act, and to live with intention. To live a life of purpose is to align our actions, decisions, and relationships with our deepest values. It is to move through the world not passively, but with clarity, courage, and a sense of responsibility toward ourselves and others. Purpose is the compass that guides us through uncertainty, the force that motivates us to rise above fear, and the light that inspires others along our path. History provides countless examples of individuals who embodied purpose in ways that transformed lives and shaped societies. Abraham Lincoln, despite immense personal loss and political pressure, pursued the preservation of the Union and the abolition of slavery with unwavering dedication. He understood that his life's work was not only about his own ambitions, but about the broader impact of his actions on the generations that followed. From Lincoln, we learn that purpose often emerges in the alignment of personal conviction with collective responsibility, and that the courage to act on that purpose defines the legacy we leave behind. Michelle Obama frequently reminds audiences that discovering and living purpose requires reflection, resilience, and authenticity. Purpose is not always obvious. It often takes time to uncover, and it requires us to confront our fears, limitations, and doubts. Yet when we take the time to listen to our own values, passions, and strengths, we find a clarity that illuminates our path. Even small, unexpected moments, like the quiet celebration of a wedding, can reveal lessons about what truly matters, what inspires us, and how we might contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. Purpose is also inseparable from service. Harriet Tubman, risking her life repeatedly to guide others to freedom, lived a life of purpose that extended far beyond her own survival. Her actions were not motivated by recognition or reward, but by an unwavering commitment to justice, freedom, and human dignity. Purpose, in this sense, is a force that calls us to act for something greater than ourselves. It reminds us that the choices we make, even in small ways, can have a profound impact on others and on the future we help shape. In personal life, living with purpose means being intentional in relationships, decisions, and daily habits. Michelle Obama emphasizes the importance of consistency and integrity, of ensuring that our actions reflect our values. Purpose guides us to prioritize what truly matters, to invest in growth, learning, and meaningful connections, and to persevere through challenges with resilience. It transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for meaning, enabling us to navigate life with clarity and grace. History also teaches us that purpose requires courage in the face of adversity. Martin Luther King Jr. pursued a vision of equality and justice despite immense risk, hostility, and personal sacrifice. His life demonstrates that living with purpose often involves confronting fear, embracing responsibility, and committing fully to a cause greater than oneself. It is in these acts of courage, in alignment with a higher purpose, that ordinary people create extraordinary change. Living with purpose also cultivates resilience and adaptability. Change is inevitable, and life often brings unexpected challenges. Those who are guided by purpose navigate uncertainty with clarity and strength, seeing obstacles not as barriers, but as opportunities to refine their values, strengthen their resolve, and contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. Eleanor Roosevelt, in her tireless advocacy for human rights and social justice, demonstrated that purpose provides both guidance and motivation through the most trying circumstances, allowing individuals to remain steadfast and focused on long-term goals. Purpose is also deeply connected to empathy and human connection. A life of purpose is not solitary. It is rooted in the awareness of our impact on others and our responsibility to foster dignity, understanding, and opportunity. Michelle Obama often emphasizes that influence grows when paired with compassion and service. By aligning purpose with action that uplifts and supports others, we create legacies that extend far beyond ourselves. Ultimately, living a life of purpose is about authenticity, courage, and conscious action. It is a commitment to engage fully in the world, to act in alignment with our values, and to contribute positively to the lives of others. History, from the quiet heroism of Harriet Tubman to the visionary leadership of Abraham Lincoln and the transformative advocacy of civil rights leaders, shows us that purpose is not abstract. It is realized through intentional, courageous, and consistent action. So, as we reflect on the quietly celebrated wedding, we are reminded that life is full of opportunities to live with intention, to act with courage, and to leave a meaningful mark on the world. By embracing purpose in every decision, every relationship, and every moment of service, we honor the lessons of the past, inspire the present, and shape a future filled with hope, resilience, and wisdom. In doing so, we contribute to the enduring chorus of timeless voices, carrying forward the stories, lessons, and inspiration that define the human spirit.